Now, we are pleased to present the president and CEO of Ford. He is live in Michigan right now. Alan Mulally, welcome. You know, we're amazed and appreciative that you're even sitting here right now because Rick Wagner of General Motors had to postpone a lot of his interviews and they held off on the earnings. So we appreciate that you're sitting here right now on time. What is different about Ford that the other auto companies are facing right now, if anything?
Well, I'm glad to be here, Liz, and get a chance to talk to you about it. I clearly just completed our third quarter earnings call, and you know, we described the environment that we're in, and it's clearly a very, very tough economic environment. Now, having said that, we feel like we're making great progress on our plan, on the transformation of our product line, and also on restructuring to operate profitably. But it's a tough third quarter, and managing our cash is a key part of that.
Yeah, I want to get to the cash burn rate in just a minute, but indeed a brutal quarter. So you missed estimates. You saw the estimates were a loss of 98 cents per share, but you came in at a loss of $1.31, just to let our viewers sort of get a handle of what's going on. Why did you see the wider loss in margins? What happened between the time that you expected that loss and then the time that we saw a bigger cut?
Oh, sure. Well, first of all, just to put the loss in context, you know, around the world, we did very well. South America was very profitable for us, Europe, Asia Pacific. So the real issue is the United States, and it really goes with the continuing slowdown in the economy. And the sales rate that we're looking at is the lowest that we've all seen in 35 years. So you know, clearly the economy and the consumer confidence are at the heart of this. Now, having said that, specifically for the third quarter, we took overt action to reduce our production of our larger vehicles, especially the F-150 truck, because the dealers had too much inventory and we were getting ready to bring out our new F-150 truck.
Sure.
So that was a special hit to the third quarter, which made the cash burn for the third quarter much worse than it normally would be.
You know, we're very interested in looking forward here at Fox Business, particularly as it pertains to your relationship now going to Washington, D.C. with the heads of General Motors and Chrysler, along with the union heads. You met with Nancy Pelosi yesterday, the House Speaker. What was your main message there? I mean, in essence, you're pleading your case for more cash to help you, continue your operations. What happened at that meeting that encouraged you?
Oh, sure. It was. I was very encouraged, Liz, because this is a very important industry, and we have been working very closely since I arrived here a couple of years ago. And it really started with the progress we're making on the 2007 Energy Independence and Security Act that was passed by Congress last year. Mm-hmm. And as you well know, they had allocated $25 billion to help the auto industry in the United States accelerate the enabling technology and the introduction of fuel-efficient vehicles. So that was one thing we talked about, and the Department of Energy put out their rules, their criteria for that yesterday, so we had a chance to review that, right. And that is going very well. The second piece is on the credit and getting the liquidity flowing again. We also have a facility with the Fed that we can access the asset-backed paper, and so we talked a little bit about that, which is going well. The third piece, which you mentioned, is what I'd call a bridge loan, that if the economy continues to degrade and the automobile industry in general got in trouble, that it's such an important part of the industry for the United States and the economy, that would it be good to have a bridge loan in place
of $25
to allow
billion.
us to, yes, of having been able to navigate through that. So that was the third part of the conversation, but very, very fruitful, because the automobile industry really does need to be part of the economic recovery of the United States.
You've heard it. There are already critics out there who say, why should we save an industry that can't stand on its own right now? What is your counter-argument to that? Because taxpayers have watched banks and all kinds of financial institutions sidling up to the Federal Reserve and to the Treasury Department asking for money. Here comes the auto industry. What is the counter-argument to taxpayers who say, I don't want to bail out another industry?
No, I understand, and I think it's a real judgment call and a very thoughtful conversation. The auto industry is really important, as we all know, to the United States. It's energy security, it's energy independence, it's our industrial base. We have been taking actions over the last few years to really transform the business, both the product line, the fuel efficiency, the quality, the safety. We're on a really good path. Nobody anticipated that we would be overwhelmed by this degrading economic environment. So I think the real argument is that this is a very, very important industry. It's taking the right actions for the long term, and in the near term, it's going to be a very important part of the solution for turning our economy around and growing again.
Let's talk about that cash position that you talked about. During the quarter, you burned through about $7.7 billion, leaving you with reserves of around $18.9 billion. I know you have a credit line that brings you to $30 billion. But how long,
Yep.
Alan, does this last before you guys at Ford find yourself in serious difficulties? Already we're hearing about General Motors. I mean, listen, this has been discussed that maybe they were closer to bankruptcy, and certainly you have been in a better cash position. You and I have talked about this, but when do you need this money? When's that last clear chance where you say, now we need it?
Well, right now, Liz, it kind of goes back to what we have done in the past to prepare for this. And as you well know, and we discussed, we went to the markets early, over a year and a half ago, and when we borrowed that money, we anticipated there would be an economic slowdown. So we got the liquidity in place. We've been managing it very carefully. We've been focused on the investments for the future as well as the productivity and quality improvements. And so what you described is exactly our situation. We have $30 billion. We're managing that very carefully. And then going forward, it really is dependent on the economy and the industry level and the consumer's confidence, because we're assuming that it's going to be down, it's going to be longer, it's going to be deeper, but we go through 2009 and it starts to recover in 2010. If the economy degrades significantly, of course, we'd be in a different situation, which is one of the reasons we were talking to the government about taking action ahead of time in case that happened.
I see two silver linings.
Our liquidity right now is good.
I see two silver linings here. I see that your numbers in Europe and your numbers elsewhere, even though Europe is facing recession, look relatively healthy. The second is that President-elect Obama, I am sure, probably, unlike like most presidents, does not want to have on his back the fact that the U.S. auto industry went under. Have you talked to President-elect Obama? Do you have his ear? Does he understand your plight?
Well, I have not talked to the President-elect since he was elected, but I have talked to him ahead of time because he really does want to understand, and he does understand the economy and the importance of the automobile industry. And we talked about the issues that you and I have been talking about today. Sure. And I think that even more than the automobile industry itself, that the new administration is really going to focus on the economy of the United States and what are the right actions that we continue to take to reverse this decline and get us growing again. And I'm absolutely confident that the automobile industry needs to be part of that solution, and we're prepared to contribute.
Will you keep us posted? We are following the Ford story so closely here.
Absolutely.
President and CEO of Ford Motor Company, Alan Mulally, thank you for joining us. And Cheryl and Tom.
Thank you, Liz.